Hi, thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to be taking a look at how to create advanced segmentations using the report builder inside of Sales Fusion. Now, to refresh on what a segmentation is a way to query your database in real time so that you're able to market to a very specific group of people. However, there may be times where you want to do a segmentation so complex that it always does not work out exactly how you plan to. And the reason for that is because the system may not be able to read and interpret the different thing that you have set up because there's a lot. So let's go ahead and take a look at a segmentation, just a regular segmentation under the Marketing tab in Segments that I set up to show you this example. So when I open this up, you can see that I start off very simply, looking for all records that are leads. I then say, and I want the email address to contain an @ symbol. And I want the mailing state to equal California or Alabama or Georgia, and the country needs to be United States or USA. Now this may seem pretty logical as I'm reading it down. However, the system, the basic segmentation, does not have the ability to tell the system how to group it. Think of the grouping as parentheses. So this would be a parenthesis between these two ands, keeping those together. There would be a parenthesis for the mailing states, keeping those together, and then there would be a parenthesis for the countries. And that's the one thing that the segmentation builder cannot do when you get to creating large segmentations in this manner. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to replicate this inside of the report builder, and we're going to see what the difference is in the numbers that we receive. So here we're getting 697. We're going to use the report builder and the grouping within the report builder to see how many we can actually get that's accurate. So I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to bring over another screen, and we're going to go to the Reports tab, and we're going to go to Mr. Bob. This is Bob, the report builder. Clicking on Bob, you can click on the data source, and it asks you, are you looking for a custom view? Are you looking for a single table? Or are you looking for a standard view? For the most part, you will be using standard views. Standard views are pre-joined tables that we have put together for you to be able to utilize. You can see here we have View Account. That's looking just at the account table. We also have View Account Contact, which is combining the account table together with the contact table. View Account Contact Campaign. This is looking at the account table, the contact table, and the campaign table. The ability to use the different joins when creating an advanced segmentation puts you at an advantage because you're no longer limited to just the account table, just the contact table, just the lead table, and a couple web fields. You actually now get the ability to create segmentations based off events, opportunities, tasks, or activities, additional web activity details. Did they touch a particular page? And even distribution lists. So it gives you a lot more options and a lot more flexibility to create more dynamic segments with a lot more targeted messages. For our purpose, I'm going to choose View Account Contact. I'm choosing that because if you look here, the fields I'm going to be querying on are from the contact table. I'm then going to select what type of report this is going to be. And when you're doing it for an advanced segmentation, it has to be a tabular report. And then you give it a name. So I'm going to call this Today's Date, and we'll put in Training. And then you can put in a more in-depth description and add a category. Once you've added these properties, we're going to go ahead and click on Create Report in the upper right-hand corner, and it's going to take us into the report. This is where we're going to add our columns. This is where we're going to add our filters. Now, the very first column in any advanced segmentation has to render a value of an email address. So if I'm looking at the account contact table, I'm going to be looking for the field email. If I'm looking at the campaign table, the field that renders the email address might be called To Email. If I'm looking at the web activity, it might be called Email Address. Whatever table you're looking at, again, has to have the column that renders the email address, because obviously that's who we're going to be sending the campaign to. So since I'm using View Account Contact, I can very easily just use the email field here. So I'm going to find my email field. And very important, the display name has to be email with a capital E. Can't be anything else. This display name tells the system it's an advanced segmentation. It has to be the first column. It has to have a field that renders the value of an email address. And this display name has to be email with a capital E. If ever you create an advanced segmentation and you go to your Send To tab in the email designer and you can't find it, it's because the display name is wrong. You can add any additional fields after that. So if you want to spot check and see the country, you want to spot check and see the type, you want to see, just make sure it's pulling the right information. By all means, continue to add more columns. We're going to come over here to the filters, and this is where we're going to filter out our segmentations. So our very first one, if you recall, was to find all of the records that are leads. So I'm going to go ahead and find my column, which is CRM type. And I'm going to choose my operator as equals, and I'm going to say lead. Okay? With the report builder, if you ever run into an error, most commonly the error is going to be in the filters. So what I would highly recommend doing is as you are creating your filter, always hit Save Report. That way if it comes up with an error, you know exactly where the error is, rather than adding 7 different filters, then getting an error and have no idea where it's at. Our second filter was email. So we're going to choose the email field. And our operator was contains, and we had the @ symbol. Again, make sure you save your report. I still have no errors, so I know I'm free to move on. I'm going to select another filter row. This one was mailing state, so I'm going to find my mailing state. And I'm going to say equals. And I had California, so I'm going to put in CA. So I'm going to go ahead and save my report again. You can see it's dropping down. I'm going to add another filter row. This is going to be where the mailing state equals Alabama. So I'm going to choose mailing state. Let's go this route. We also have a quick edit field where you can come in here and quickly grab these. So I can find mailing state, which I already have, and hit save. Let me just grab it one more time. We'll keep going down to mailing state. Okay, this one was Alabama. I'm going to add another filter row, and this one is going to be for Georgia. Those were our 3 states that we wanted to see if they equaled. There's mailing state. And this one was Georgia. Now I need to change my logic to say or. I'm saying if it equals California, or it equals Alabama, or it equals Georgia. I had 2 more filters, and these were mailing country. So I'm going to add another filter row. I'm going to choose mailing country. Here's mailing state, mailing country. We're going to say equals, and on this one I'm going to say United States. And then I'm going to add my last filter, which is going to be it equals USA. I'm going to grab my last field, and we'll say USA. Again, I need to change my logic to say or, because these 2 are or together. Now I'm going to go ahead and save my report, and make sure, I was not saving as I was going through the filters, but make sure you save as you're going through. Now here it's telling me I have 1,247 rows, but I have not set my grouping yet. All of my grouping is set to 1, which means I pretty much built the same thing I built inside the segmentation builder. What you want to do is you want to add in your groups. You need to group your ands and your ors together. This is saying CRM type equals lead and email contains @ symbol. That's my group 1. Then I go into my ors where I'm saying state equals California or Alabama or Georgia. So these would become group 2. Then I go back to another one where I'm saying country equals United States or country equals USA, and this becomes group 3. Now when I save this report, you're going to see a difference in numbers. That was 1247. This one went down to 695. So this is a much more accurate way is to use the grouping. So when you do have a lot of and or logics, you're trying to group all of these different things together, you really need to do it from within the report builder. So now I have my advanced segment. Let's go ahead and create another one using a different table, and then I'll show you how to add it to an actual campaign. So I'm going to come back to our builder. I'm going to choose another table, and this one we're going to do something a little different. On this one, we're actually going to choose the campaign table. We're going to look for a tabular report again, and I'm going to call this Advanced Segment 2. Description, choose where it's going to exist, and create the report. Again, your very first column needs to be the field that represents the email address. And since we're using a campaign, let's use our quick edit. So which field would render the email address? Obviously on this one, it would be email. Move it over, click on Save. I can come over here to the filters, and I can add a new filter, and I can say if the del message equals 1. That means that it was delivered. Save report. So these are the different types of reports that you can build. So I can say del status equals 1. Click on Save Report, and right now it's going out and it's querying everything for me. Depending on how large your database is, how many campaigns you've run, how many recipients you've had, depends on how long the report will actually take to get back. Let's go ahead and walk through adding the advanced segmentation to the actual campaign. So to do that, you would open up your email or your drip. I'm going to go into a test email and open it up. You would then go to the Send To tab, and you'd be able to see Segmentations, Distribution List, Report Builder. This is where your advanced segmentations go. You can see here is my advanced segmentation, 92612. Click on Include, and now it's going to go out. One of the advantages of doing advanced segmentation in the report builder is that it's still dynamic. Every time you use it, it's going to query the database. So it works exactly like a segmentation, just in a different manner, and gives you some additional features and functions. That's pretty much it for the advanced segmentations. We do have a great Learning Management Center where you can watch this video if you need to review it or if you need to look at some best practices. And we also have our help guide where you can come in. You can do a search for advanced segmentations and be able to see step-by-step how to create this. Creating a tabular report to use this as segmentation. Step 1, Step 2, Step 3. As always, I thank you for joining me, and I hope you have a fantastic day. Thank you.